Hi, I'm Captain Mike. Today I'm going to make a video on some silicone molds and some of the problems that you might have with them after using them for a while. Um, a lot of this is just off the hip. I've been using these molds for quite a while. The small molds, like these right here, I use to catch extra resin that I have when I do a larger project, like these charcuterie boards. And you know, it's hard to decide exactly when you've got two or three of these. Let's say it's hard to determine exactly how much resin to mix up. I usually mix up anywhere from 6 to 8 ounces for 2 or 3 boards, depending on their size. But invariably, there will be some resin left over. And just like I've mentioned in videos where I mix plaster, I always have some little molds that don't really mean anything. They're just different molds that I have. I have them ready to pour the excess plaster into. I don't like to waste anything. So I thought I'd make this video on these little silicone molds. They're not very expensive, and I order a lot of them off of eBay or off of Amazon. I get them from they come from China, most of them, and they work really well. You can't beat them. It's easier to buy these than it is to make your own, unless you have something unique that you want to make a mold out of. And but I have learned some things over a period of time on working with these. The most recent thing that I have discovered, and it's kind of the reason for this video. I wanted to share with you because it impacted on me a little bit, and I said, gee, I don't like that, so I'm going to have to do alternative things. The first one was I had been using these silicone rubber containers to mix my epoxy up in so I could reuse them. They also have, you won't be able to see it, I'm sure, but they have amount graduations on the sides of them, so you can kind of pour it in there. You don't have to weigh it. You can just kind of visualize it and pour in 3 ounces of part A and 3 ounces of part B and stir it all up, and you're good to go. And then when you're through and you've poured it all out, it hardens. Most of the time, well, in fact, all the time until it quits, you just pull the excess dried resin out. It comes out in one piece, you throw it away, and you're good to go. Over a period of time, I found that some of the resin starts to stick. Evidently because the silicone gets roughed up, I don't know, but something happens to the silicone and it doesn't release as well as I'd like for it to. I don't get a clean release. So I looked somewhere online, I don't remember where, and someone said you could clean these with lacquer thinner. Wrong answer, folks. Do not use lacquer thinner to clean these things. Or if you do, do it at your own risk. Here's what happened. This is my first one, and I turned it inside out to try to get this loose, but it's stuck, you see, and it's actually pulled loose in some places. You see here broke, so it's ruined. Not a big deal. You'll get, I don't know, I must have poured this 10-15 times before this happened, and before I cleaned it and the lacquer thinner did something to it, I don't know. But there are better methods and alternatives than using these cups right here. And this is what I use now. They're disposable and they're cheap. Depending on the amount of epoxy that I wish, or resin that I wish to use, I just poured in one of these. And actually you can use them over again too, because when the epoxy or the resin hardens in these cups, you've got most of it out. Just do your next batch on top of that, and you're good to go. Here is another example. Now, I poured this mold here a lot. I might have made 20 or 30 of these little fish before this one just refused to come out, and the mold started splitting. So it's in there forever, won't come out. And I had some indication that this was happening because they progressively got harder and harder to unmold. And there were some, again, indications of things were going wrong other than just being harder to unmold. And that was, they started turning kind of whitish in here, discoloring. And now I know that that's an indication that things are not doing well. I think this one is going here. It's my little Hello Kitty mold. Kids like them. We'll unmold this one. It is unmolding still very well, and they pop right on out, and you get a nice little Hello Kitty. But you can see that it's beginning to go a little white in there. And so I expect sooner or later this one to probably quit working. Don't know, but we'll see, because I like to pour these. Seems like my phone over there is dinging right away. I don't know who wants to talk to me, but they'll have to wait. This is the bad one. This is from a lot of stuff that I poured the other day. Now I poured it clear on, I think, on that pig mold. I mean that pig charcuterie board I just showed you. And when it's left, there'll be an ounce or two or whatever left in. I just add color to that, to the clear, and I get these. And this is one that's similar to the pink mold. It's just white, but it feels the same. It's very soft, and it unmolds fine. And the unmolding of these things is not exactly what this video is about. It's more or less about this. I really wanted to kind of get this off my mind and show it to you. And if any of you all have experienced this or have any answers, let me know. I hate it when something messes up like that, but it does. But while I'm talking about these molds, there's a different type that I've started getting lately, and it's this kind of a mold. And it's very similar to what you get with this fish, little koi fish. But I find they unmold better, and I like them. So I think I got 3 of them. And let's see, this one may not unmold as well because I poured it a little thin, but we'll see. You get it out and pour it on out, and there you go. Come out really, really nice. See, you have your little fish up there. Okay. So I like these. It's just don't know yet how resilient they're going to be. I've got them we've got a crab here and another little gummy and a little turtle. We'll do those in a little while. One of the other things I wanted to show you was when you cast up, and this is what I mean by that. All these and many, many more are just scrap. I mean, I pour them, and when I have extra resin left over, I just use a mold and I pour it and I keep these. I let the kids, when they come to the shop, I just let them go through them and pick stuff out they like. Makes them happy, makes me happy, and we're all happy. One of the things when you're pouring and using these molds here that happens is when you pour them, you'll get an edge around here. Might not be able to see that real good. We'll get up here and where it's in focus maybe, but you can see there's a little edge there. And what I do is I've got a belt sander outside in my woodworking shop, and I just put this on the belt sander and sand it off smooth. You can also do it on a lap grinder, a diamond lap grinder with water on it if you want to. And what you get, now here's another little example. This little dragon here. He's got a little ridge around here. It just feels a little different. And if you want to go to the trouble, you grind them down and the backs look like that. Okay, nice and flat, and just makes them a little nicer. Okay, thought I'd throw that in there for grins and giggles. Show you some of the other projects that I've been doing using these silicone molds. I just go crazy with silicone molds, and I bought some of these. They came several different. There's a wolf design and several different designs with this little moon motif, and I liked them. Here's what I do with them. I just take them and make little hangy thingies like that. And when you purposefully make something like this that takes, you know, you're doing half a dozen of these at one time, or half a dozen of these larger castings, you know, you're gonna end up again with some extra resin. And when you do, then you pour it into these little things like this. And the subject is endless. There's just, you will never buy all of them, I don't think. So that's pretty much it. The only other thing I have to mention when about maybe a tip about these things here, most of this stuff here will unmold in 24 hours. And depending on the resins that you use, it'll be a transparent, you add color to it. It can be opaque, you add color to it. This is an opaque, you don't add any color, it just comes out there. This particular brand of resin, it'll cure just in minutes. It doesn't, you know, an hour after you start, you're through. And it works great, but it's fast. This takes a little longer. In fact, this particular one right here is still just a little bit squiggly. And one of the tips I wanted to show you is while it's still squiggly, you can take the flash off. And this one, it just comes off with your fingers. But once you get it, you get the flash off of it before it gets super hard, okay, after it cures. Because once it does, it's a little harder to get off. There's a little crab, my little turtle. A little turtle here, and my little gummy. Some of these molds come out shiny, some of them don't. This, like this right here, this type of mold, it comes out a little shinier than a lot of these, but you'll just have to experiment with them and see. See, the Hello Kitty is nice and shiny. The dragon is not so shiny. And the fish is kind of shiny. And again, it comes in one of these. See? So, just a few tips. Not much to this video. I just kind of wanted, I've had this laying around here around my table for a while now, since I discovered this atrocity right here. And been trying to think about how I could work it into a video and make it useful. So that's it. That's all we're going to say on this subject. If you have questions, suggestions, please put them in the comments below, and I'll try my best to answer. I try to answer everybody. Sometimes I miss you, I'm sorry, but I try my best to answer everybody, and I try to acknowledge the suggestions and even try them myself. So that's it, folks. I hope this was helpful. I hope I get some comments that are helpful to me. I love pouring resin. And that'll be it. I'm Captain Mike. This is my video on problems and fixes for resin casting. And I'm out of here.